Okay, so first off, I apologize for any background noises. In this video, I'm going to show you how to port a hair for Mass Effect Andromeda. I don't know if the process is the same for Dragon Age Inquisition, but it probably should be. I haven't tried it yet. So this video is going to assume that you already have a hair that you like, and that you've done proper edits to it to make sure that normals are all facing properly for import. I'm using a hair from Witcher 3, for example, that I had to do some prior editing for it to work in-game. But since we are going to only show how to import it for Mass Effect Andromeda, you don't need to do what I did prior to having this mesh here. Okay, so first off, you have the hair imported into Blender. Now we're going to go into Frosty. Going to Game, Characters, Human. In this video, I'm going to show you how to do for females, but you can do the same for males. Female heads, and then you go to Universal, Morph Targets. Now we see various files here. What we want is just the meshes. So what we do is we type skin mesh asset. That filters out just the head presets. Mass Effect Andromeda has 10 presets, and each one of them is a different head. So for this tutorial only, I'm going to use preset 5, which is the head called Mariah. But if you want to put this hair for other presets, you have to do the same process in this video for any of the other heads you want. But since I'm just showing how to do it, we're going to use preset 5, which is Mariah. To export human skeleton, which you can find in Game, Characters, Skeletons, and you've got all the skeletons here. We're going to put the female. Flatten hierarchy if you're using Blender, which is what I'm going to use. Export. Now, as you can see, this hair has a bit of a length to it, so we're going to also export the body. So we're going to use the naked body, which you can find in Armor's Naked. Same skeleton, meters, flatten hierarchy. Okay, since we don't need that. Now we're going to import the head. We're going to hide this. We only need the head, so the rest we can delete. I'm going to rename this to head, just so we know it's the head. Let's delete the bones. And remove that. Now we go File, Import, and we're going to import the body. Again, we only need one body, so we delete the rest of the meshes. Do that. Okay, so now we have a setup. Now what we're going to do is position the hair. To do that, we're going to Edit Mode. Try to position the hair as best we can. Okay, and you can also use sculpt mode to make even more adjustments. And I think that's okay for an example. Now we're going to hide the head and the body. Okay, we have our hair in position. Now we're going to go back into Frosty. We're going to hairs. I'm going to link in the description a character reference sheet, but basically all the hairs that are labeled with M are unique to rider. In this case, these are unique to a female rider. I personally use this one for replacement. And again, each hair is different for each preset. So if you want to use, let's say, preset 1, which is Amy, you have to replace that hair, this hair, with the one you want. So since we're using preset 5, which is Mariah, we're going to double click it. Export the hair with the skeleton, flatten the hierarchy. Now we can clear this. Okay. Now we're going to import the hair. So it's here. Now we only need, again, this. Here, hide this for now. Hide this for now. Here we have a cap and the hair in of itself that we exported, okay? So the cap we won't be needing, but it needs to be there anyway, so otherwise the game won't read it. So what we're going to do is going to go into object, select the cap, object properties, and we'll scale that down to 0, making it invisible, for the lack of a better term. We're going to rename this to just lod0 and cap. Why are we doing this? Because this is the name of the material, and it needs to be the same name. Okay, then we can, now we have our hair here. This is the hair we want. Now what we're going to do is going to click the hair and the armature, Control P, object keep transform. This basically makes it a child of the bones. And then we're going to get this part here, lod0 and the name of the material, delete the mesh, and rename our hair so that it matches the material. Okay? Now, what you need to do also, what we're going to do is going to weight paint this, and what that means is how it's going to react when moving with the body. So what we're going to do, have armature. Now we're going to turn on names so we know which one is which. Okay. There we go. Now we're going to weight paint. Now the way this hair works, we're going to go into weight paint, and so let's say I want this part of the head to go, so to move with the, so go head. The names in the vertex group have to be the same name as the bones you are seeing here, so that's why I turned the names on. Now what we're going to do is use this gradient tool, which is a lifesaver most of the time, and we're going to drag until we are happy with how it looks. Okay, now we have neck. I'm going to weight paint this part of the hair to neck 2. Again, I'm going to use here and come down here, and I'm going to reduce the strength, reduce the weight, so that it's only light blue next to neck 2. We're doing the same thing with neck. And we've got right shoulder and right pectoral. So right shoulder, we only want this part to mess with right shoulder, so what we're going to do is go here, weight paint, turn out the front faces, obviously you're going to have to do this a lot until it looks good in game, but this is more or less what I had to do with this hair. Every hair is different. Okay, so this isn't a universal technique. This is what I had to do with this hair the first time I tried it. Now we have spine 2, which is basically the torso, and I'm going to paint it around. So this is good for now, since it's just an example. This is not proper weight painting, but that's more or less what you should do. Let's just okay. We have weight painted our hair. Again, you have to do this for every kind of hair. Every kind of hair is different, so you have to do this weight painting properly for each type of hair, and you will do trial and error until you get what you want. Now we have to match the UV maps. UV maps in Andromeda are at least 3, so they're named as such, and we want to have also 3 of them. So what we're going to do here is going to name this UV channel 0, then press this plus, and plus again. UV channel 1 and UV channel 2. We have three UV maps. Now we can delete the body and the head. Now what we're going to do is go here and put solidify. This will make it so that these red parts are blue, and that means that the hair won't be transparent when you go in-game. I'm going to type 001 and fill. Now if you want to copy the same modifiers to your hair, to the other mesh, see we have none here, see mesh, select both of them with Control L, copy modifiers, oops, Control L. Okay, now we have it. Okay, and we have, you don't need materials inside Blender for this, don't need materials inside Blender for Mass Effect Andromeda. So, okay, so now what we need to do is duplicate these sets. Now what that means is that in Mass Effect you have 5 levels of a mesh. In my case, what I usually do is I duplicate these until I have all 5 of them. So in this case it would be 10. So let's start with the cap. Okay. Now we'll label these. You have to name them with LOD 2 dots and the name of the material. Otherwise it will not import. 2, 3, LOD 4. Okay, well, we got those 4, and now we're going to do the hair. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. 4, 3, 2, now we go here. And this also has to match the material name. So we put that there. Oops. Just organize things. cap we already did. Cap is proper. This is just to organize things. This isn't really required, but it has to be the same name here. So that's all proper now. Now we go into Blender file and we're going to delete the excess items. We don't need materials, mesh. You have to be careful here. 1, 2, 3. Okay, we have all the hairs here. We'll turn this off. Okay, and that's a hair ready to be imported. Okay, so now that we have our hair ready, we're going to export it so we can import it to Frosty. So we go File, Export, FBX. You need to select Armature and Mesh. The scale is 0.01 because we use meters. No leaf bones, and we have normals only, tangent space, and apply modifiers. The rest you can leave as it is. It's best practice to write the name of the preset so you know which one it is. Okay, it's exported. Now we go back into Frosty and we find the hair. Import, and we select our new hair. The skeleton has to match the one you exported before. And we have our hair imported. Okay. Now, let me just look at this again. Now for the textures, what we're going to do to find out which textures are being used, you go here, right here, you can pick any one you want, and this is the hair we replaced, so this is the one we're going to be using. Now, where are the textures? We open here, materials, here. These are the textures for the hair we replaced. So we're going to go click these and open assets. Click and open asset. And open assets. So these are the textures for the hair that we replaced. So now we're going to make these textures. Now this is the color map, or the diffuse, which is basically what the base of the hair. Okay, and what we're going to do is going to... Now I had to do some extra work with this hair, but I'm going to show you more or less what we have to do. So here is, we're going to control it. You can use GIMP or whatever other program you like, but I use Photoshop, so this is going to be made in Photoshop. Now what we're going to do is make the textures. Now obviously every texture is different. Every hair is different, so you're going to have to play around with it as best you can. And in my case, this is what I had to do with this hair. Okay. Well, we can close this already since we already have our assisted diffuse. Now the diffuse needs to be more or less blonde. So this is more or less blonde. It's not exactly blonde, it's just, we're just playing around. Okay. Now for the nasal, what I usually, since I don't know how it works properly, what I do is get both colors. Which are orange and green. And select. I don't know how to do this in GIMP, I only use Photoshop, so, but if you have a way of doing it, even better. Okay. Okay. And the normal map. Usually I don't use normal maps for the hair, so in this case I'm just going to make a flat normal map. Which is basically. Okay. I don't usually use normal maps in this hair. I didn't use a normal map in this hair, so I just made a flat out norm. This is simply a norm. Okay. Now we go and import our new textures. Normal. And now we save, just in case. Now we export our mod. Let's call this. It's best to put in the name of the preset so people know which one it is, or if you want to know which one it is. One, hair. And there we have. Now if you want to try it out in-game, let's hope this works. I had to do, this isn't a model I used, so there were extra steps I had to do. But I think this should work. The game loads, I'm going to close Photoshop because that causes a lot of lagging in my system. So since we're just going to test it out, So as I said, we're going to test preset 5. Hairstyle. And if I recall correctly, this was hairstyle 20. And there we have it, our hair working in-game. Obviously you have to edit it more. Of course I have to edit it more, but this is our hair working and imported. And that's it. I hope you enjoy. I hope this helps. Hope you port hairs in Mass Effect Andromeda.